Hi everybody, welcome back. As I said at the end of the last video, we need to talk about two members of the royal family, well, technically four, that need to be pushed into the shadows. Two of them have been in the shadows for a while. Recently, they've started making it back out into more of a public facing role and it's all blown up again. But there are, however, four couples in that family. Two couples are the bright stars, the shining light. They highlight the best parts of the UK, the Commonwealth. They draw attention to great causes, great charities, and of course other people. And they represent the UK and the Crown and the King on a world stage wonderfully and perfectly. Then you've got the other two couples, equally cut from the same cloth, I'd say. Both women use their titles to merch and to get freebies. They will say and do anything for money. Both men, arrogant, pompous, entitled, clearly have jealousy issues, and also both seem to be a fair few points down in the old IQ department. And both couples certainly love a good scandal, and drama just keeps on finding them, doesn't it? Now, whilst Harry and Meghan quit for a life of hustling for fame and failure and have become a global laughingstock, their detachment from not just the royal family so publicly and of course the country, they live across the seas. Most people do not see Harry and Meghan as members of the royal family anymore. They see them as desperate D-list celebrities that will go to the opening of an envelope. Yet Fergie and Andrew, who reside in a royal residence and more recently have become emboldened to be seen more publicly alongside the royals, including the King, just can't stay out of trouble or stop causing embarrassment, to the point that I honestly now think that those two are a threat to the monarchy as well. Andrew humiliated himself. Andrew has destroyed his own life. Harry has gone out of his way to destroy the royal family, destroy the Queen's legacy, destroy everything that his grandparents have built. Harry just decided, if I can't get what I want, I'm going to burn it all to the ground. Andrew hasn't done that, but obviously I'm certainly not giving Andrew a free pass here. Some of the things that he has been caught up in are scandalous, doesn't even cover it really. And more pointedly, one of his chosen friends, which has also now got Fergie back into the hot seat. Now, Fergie is another one that I've been fairly soft with Fergie because to me, she's like a cartoon character. She's funny, she comes across as nice, she's always someone that I would say is a bit ditzy. But both of them appearing together on Tuesday at a very big royal public event, as it were. Although the funeral of the Duchess of Kent was obviously private, it was for family, it was somewhere where everybody knew it's at the cathedral, the press were going to be there, members of the public would be there, and Andrew knew it. Andrew and Fergie, rather than staying back, they really worked hard to work their way forward. I would say Andrew was actually worse than Fergie. Andrew was working his way down the front line of the senior royals, all waiting for their cars like he was at a buffet, ensuring that he was seen laughing and smiling broadly with anybody that he could. Not a great look at a funeral, I might add. And Fergie was also seen giggling at certain points. Now, Prince William, as I've said, not one to suffer fools, I believe that he knew exactly what his uncle was up to. He was polite when Andrew spoke to him, but he made it very clear he was not interested. When Prince William went to walk away to go to his father, Andrew then skedaddled down, didn't he? He ran after him almost to then get himself at the side of the King, knowing that the cameras would be following William and King Charles talking. Andrew, much like Harry, knows to remain royally relevant, he needs to be seen, to be accepted by members of his family, and predominantly, you know, the King, obviously Prince William, the Princess Royal, and he worked his way down. Sophie, super Sophie, she certainly didn't look like that she was playing ball. She was adorable actually at the funeral, and when the Duke of Kent and their family got into the car, she blew them a kiss, knowing how upset they were. When you've got Andrew and Fergie giggling and laughing behind her. Very, very different people. Now, obviously, Andrew and Fergie, like I said, they know the importance that they need the association with the royals to get that royal stardust back. And after Prince Philip died, Fergie was allowed in from the cold, wasn't she? Because Prince Philip didn't like her. The Queen was obviously a lot more softer with Fergie. We started seeing her making appearances. She got invited to family events. When the Queen died, she left her corgis to Fergie, which, you know, it obviously shows that the Queen did have warm affection for her daughter-in-law. But with that, and this proves my point, I have noticed that since Fergie has been allowed back into the royal fold, you're seeing her a lot more. You're seeing her at events. You're seeing her publicising selling books again. You're seeing her appearing on TV shows. So that royal stardust does work by association. But this is why it's very bad for the rest of the royals. Now, where it gets very bad for the monarchy, and this is why they need to be shoved into the shadows, and I would say quite quickly, is because of their friendship with this man. I can't mention his name too much because YouTube is very sensitive, mostly because of the heinous crimes that he has committed. And it's always puzzled me that Andrew and Fergie chose to remain friends with him despite him serving time in 2008. The convictions all started coming up in 2005 against him doing very, very bad things to 13 and 14-year-old girls. Their daughter, Princess Eugenie, was that age at that time. And I cannot get my head around it. They weren't just accusations. He said that he was innocent. He got convicted, as in proved he did it, and he served time behind bars. And they still chose to remain friends with him. What other normal parents would do that? You would do anything to keep your children well away from somebody that is guilty of such disgusting things. But what they did is they lied. They lied about the continuation of their friendship with him. Prince Andrew lied to the royal family, he lied to the public, and then of course it all came out that, you know, he was still spending time with him. Well, the same thing has pretty much happened to Fergie. An email has now come out showing that she apologized to him after she had to publicly denounce him after obviously all of these accusations went against him, that he served time in prison. She, to protect her book deals and her roles with children's charities, had to publicly denounce him. Well, this email that's come out has said that a few weeks later, she's groveling to him. A few weeks after Fergie publicly distanced herself from him, where she said, "I cannot state more strongly that I know a terrible, terrible error of judgment was made. What he did was wrong and for which he was rightly jailed for." Then she emailed him a few weeks later, thanking him for being a steadfast, generous and supreme friend to me and my family. "I know you feel hellaciously let down by me from what you were either told or read, and I must humbly apologise to you and your heart for that." Now, of course, the Duchess's people have come out and said in defense of her that she was also a victim somehow of Epstein. Her spokesperson, James Henderson, has said that there was a threatening, menacing phone call that came straight after Fergie's interview where she publicly denounced him. People don't understand how terrible he was. I can remember everything about that call. He said he would destroy the York family. He was quite clear on that. He wasn't shouting. He had a Hannibal Lecter type voice. He was cold, calm, menacing and nasty. Well, if that is the truth, and he threatened to destroy Fergie's family, her ex-husband, and of course her two daughters, Princesses Eugenie and Beatrice, I find it really hard to believe that Andrew would choose to remain friends with him. And as more recent emails have suggested, they were still in contact right up until the back end of 2015. I'm sorry, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I don't believe it because we know that Andrew continued being chummy with him afterwards, and I think it was Fergie that introduced him to him in the first instance. So of course, with more rumours that are now circulating, more stories will be coming out with their interactions with this man. Andrew and Fergie need to be pushed back into the shadows once and for all. By all means, if it's a family church service, it's Christmas, it's Easter, go to that. I have no problems with that. But maybe don't walk in, with the King and the Queen and Prince William and Catherine, maybe use the back entrance. If it's a funeral, like it was the Duchesses of Kent funeral. You know, stay in the shadows, stay inside the church until the main royals have left. If Fergie wants to go to Ascot, she's got plenty of rich socialite friends. Go hang around in someone else's private box. I went to Royal Ascot, there's plenty of them. They need to move out of the Royal Lodge. They need to move in to somewhere smaller, and they need to live their life out of the public facing view of the royal family. Wallis and Edward managed to do it, so can they. And we know that they lived quite the partying lifestyle right up until the very end, something that I'm certain that Andrew and Fergie can continue to do. And while we're at it, and I'm putting a few requests out here, Andrew, Harry, Meghan need to come off of the Royal Working Family website, and the links to their Sussex.com, that needs to come off as well. Those two should not be there, and I'm pretty certain the people of Sussex, me a former resident, and as the people of York, probably want the dukedom taken away as well, so it's not sullied any further. Now, from the dark, let's start talking about the light, and two people in the royal family in particular, that's not the Prince and Princess of Wales, the fabulous Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh. They have gone to the beautiful and amazing country of Japan. This is the one I was very excited about because my husband and I are going there, hopefully within the next 2 years. The Duke and Duchess were welcomed by their Imperial Highnesses Crown Prince and Crown Princess Akashino with their son Prince Hisahito of Akashino at the Osaka residence in Tokyo. And the royal couple's first job, they were given the honour of planting a tree sapling grown from an acorn, which was taken from the oak tree that Queen Elizabeth planted in 1975 at the Osaka State Guest House. The way that Prince Edward is looking at Sophie in this, I think they look incredibly sweet. They were giggling because Sophie had had a few issues with the shovel. They also attended a Masubi Initiative reception held at the ambassador's residence and were welcomed by none other than Hello Kitty. They were whisked away after celebrating new partnership programs between Japan and the UK to watch the Grand Sumo tournament in Tokyo. It always amazes me how tiny people are in Japan until you see the sumo wrestlers. You certainly wouldn't want to meet any of them up a dark alley at night, although I'm certain you could probably outrun them. The couple then met with their majesties, the Emperor and the Empress of Japan, at the Imperial Palace after a change of outfits. And look at the Duchess's beautiful curtsy. My knees honestly cracked just looking at this photograph. On day 2, the Duchess went to meet with Ukrainian refugees at the Mental Health Exchange Centre in Tokyo, which has over 1,500 refugees registered at the centre. The Duchess was actually taken with one young man that she met, a boy called Daniel, who is just 16 years old, who is living in Tokyo all alone as his parents had to go back to Ukraine. Sophie was visibly moved when she learned that he does all of the cooking, all of the cleaning. He lives quite literally on his own, as well as continuing with his studies, and he hopes to go to university one day. On to her next engagement of the day. I have to say, Sophie's belted shirt dress looked incredibly pretty as she took a tour of the Nizu Museum Gardens in Minato City, and after changing, she paid a visit to the National Museum of Emerging Science, where she tried out a navigational AI suitcase, which is to help people with visual impairments. I mean, that's pretty cool, isn't it? I wonder if you could program the robot to just go to whichever gate you needed to, and then you could casually walk around and just meet your suitcase there. But I'm sure with the UK airports, it would probably just get lost. As for the other robots, I want to know what that dog does. I had a robot, a loose term, a robot dog in the 80s as a toy. It used to bark and flip over. I'm sure a few of you will remember that. Can you imagine what that dog is capable of in this modern day and age? Now, the Duke went off on his own engagement while Sophie was busy there, and he was visiting the Kasai Marine Park, which is an area of preserved tidal flats and wetlands in Tokyo Bay, and helped children digging for crabs. The following day, the Duke and Duchess had a lovely joint engagement as they visited the Sojin Temple in Kyasan. They took part in cleansing the Buddha statues, and they took a turn of the Rokyu Kyozo, which is believed to bring the same spiritual merit as reading the entire Buddhist collection of scriptures, the canon. canon. They went on to then meet with lots of school children involved with the British Council English programme in Khayasan and the Rihuka Museum, which preserves over 100,000 items, 21 of which are national treasures. Khayasan is a sacred mountain village which has over 100 Buddhist temples. It is one of the most spiritually significant sites in Japan, and I'm definitely taking notes and visiting this place when we go there, although I don't think we'd have the same sort of royal rollout welcome. But it looks beautiful, doesn't it? And this is why I love royal tours, because they make me want to visit these countries. Sophie later in the day then met up with Her Imperial Highness Princess Takamado at the Women's Pavilion during a visit to the Osaka Expo. Sophie and the princess have been friends for a number of years, and the natural affection between the two women really showed in these lovely photographs. Also, whilst at the expo, the Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh were invited to a rather special tea party where they got to meet with lots of children. Some of them were particularly adorable. Sophie gave a speech for UN Women and also explored the interactive displays at the expo. The Duchess has been actively working with the UN for a number of years, specifically centering around women's rights, especially in war zones. And she is very passionate about trying to help all of these women around the world without a voice to be heard. She's been part of the royal family now for over 26 years, and she has been dubbed not only as Super Sophie, but also as the King's secret weapon. And this is where it is imperative, as far as I am concerned as a royal watcher, that His Majesty needs to ensure that the dutiful, trusted and reliable members of the royal family are allowed to shine bright. And now more than ever, he needs to banish the toxic ex-royals deep into the shadows where they belong, and they need to take their partners in crime with them. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the little bit of the Japan tour. It looks like a beautiful country, doesn't it? And of course, sorry, had to speak about Prince Andrew. It's not someone that I particularly choose, but seriously, he and Fergie are becoming very, very damaging to be allowed to have any sort of public presence when it comes to the royals now. So tell me your thoughts on this one, and I will be back with you very soon. Take care for now. Bye.